Right guys, it's Mad and welcome back to another quick tank review. Today we're going to be looking at a tank that someone requested that I do. So thank you very much to whoever that was for making me play a tank I don't really like. Anyway, we're going to have a look through it and you can decide for yourself whether this is the sort of tank you like. Anyway, so what is this tank? Jagdpanzer E100. It's one of two Tier 10 German TDs, and both completely different. Both based on the same chassis, but the bit on the top completely different. You can see the Jagdpanzer E100 doesn't have a turret. It has this very well armoured superstructure, which is not invincible, but it can take a lot of punishment. But obviously there's no turret, gun traverse is very small, so picking up targets can sometimes mean moving your tracks. So if you like to play sneaky TDs, moving your tracks a lot, it's going to mean bino and camming it down a lot, so you're going to get spotted a lot. Anyway, so what's the other one? Well, you got the waffle. Everybody knows the waffle. E100 hull again, but a very thinly armoured turret with an autoloader. Very dangerous tank. These like to just appear at the worst possible time and put a clip into you and then run away and reload. Whereas the Jagdpanzer, because it doesn't have a turret, you're constantly trying to get yourself in a position to let these 170mm rounds fly towards the enemy and blow them up, hopefully. Anyway, let's have a quick look at the packages, have a look through it. So you have a 1200 horsepower engine, and that sounds really good, but if you can imagine, I think the E50M has the same engine and is about half the weight. Yeah, so don't expect this thing to be setting any land speed records or even turning very quickly with a track traverse of only 20 degrees a second. Yeah, so you're going to want some cruise skills. Anyway, onto the gun then. 170mm pack 46. 2.33 rounds a minute. It doesn't sound a lot, but you get 299 pen with your AP rounds and 1050 alpha damage. Huge alpha damage. Premium ammunition is heat, and you get some filthy heat pen at 420mm of penetration. That is insane, and can come in really useful for fighting things like T110 E3s from the front. Yeah. Although you don't need a lot of them. Yeah, you will see people spamming them though, and they actually see themselves off sometimes by putting the heat rounds into tracks and stuff like that. We've all done it. It's just trying not to do it. The heat shells, you still get 1050 alpha. HE pen is 85, which is pretty good for things like Lorraines, light tanks, artillery. Well, you don't need scrub artillery. If you fire HE and artillery, you really don't need to with 1050 alpha damage. Yeah, forget I said that. Things like waffles, light tanks, Lorraine, stuff like that, load up high explosive and you're going to be doing some serious damage. Accuracy is very good at 0.34, but the worst thing about this gun is the aim time at 2.7 seconds. I do use equipment to help with that, but it's up to you how you prefer to play this tank. View range is very good at 400 meters, anything 400 above is good. Right, so like I just said, there's two ways to play this tank. You can set it up caminet, binos and a rammer to play the sneaky sniper type role, or you can do what I do and set it up with coated optics, rammer and either gun lane drive or ventilation and play the support tank or a heavy support, or even try and play it as a heavy tank, which is what I do. And the reason for that is this, no, I'm in the wrong bit. Camo value low. That camo value is terrible. So even adding a camo net, which gives you 25% on your camo value, 25% of a low camo value is still a low camo value, so it's absolutely pointless. And if you're not running a camo net, you don't really need binos. You may as well get in people's faces and spot them from 50 meters rather than 450 meters, which is how I choose to play this tank. Doesn't always go well, but from the replay I'm going to show you in a bit, you can see why I don't sit at the back. I'm going to show you a short clip now. If you choose to sit back in a TD with crap camo value and it's not very mobile, if you've got a very good team, you're going to end up doing no damage because you'll be so far at the back. Your friendly mediums, heavies are going to kill everything before you get a chance to get near them. If you've got a really bad team, they'll all die before you get a chance to fire, and they'll all come and find you and kill you last really easily. Imagine a medium tank comes towards you. He can take a shell off you. if you're the last tank alive, he's not going to care. He's going to let you shoot him, then he's going to drive around the side of you, and that's the last time you're ever going to see him at the front of your tank. Right, onto this little clip now, just to prove what I was saying. Right, here we go, tankers. Extreme case, but this is what happens when a Tier 10 TD, heavily armoured one, decides not to use his armour and sit at the back corner of the map, completely out of range to do anything. You can see I've sped it up 4 times. Yeah, it's been here a long time. There we go, artillery's going down. Puts one into the mouse, which is good, but it's too little too late. There we go, takes a big round off an E4. So this is what I was saying, you can either push to the front, help your team out and use your armour, or you can sit at the back of the map, and if your team suck out like we did, you get found last and you're not going to survive, even if you're in the corner of the map. Here we go, back chat. Well played, medium. Well, he bounces that one, but it doesn't really matter because he's dead. There we go. Well, there we go, tankers. Just a funny little clip for you there, just to prove what I was saying about the playstyles of this tank. I know that's an extreme case, and that one was driven by somebody who obviously doesn't get the idea of the game, even though they've got Tier 10. Yeah. Anyway, if you want a sneaky TD, go find a sneaky TD like the 268. Jagdpanzer's probably not for you, but if you like to be a heavy support tank, you will probably like this one. Right, we're going to need to talk about some other stuff now. Crew skills, completely different to sneaky tank setup. Right, so what you want to do with this tank is train repairs. Well, I'm assuming you've got... No, you're not going to have no skills by the time you get to Tier 10, are you? Right, let's just tell you what you want. You want 6th Sense. After that, I'd probably go for Brothers in Arms. Then you want clutch braking, track mechanic, snapshot, and repairs. And you can see I'm starting to work on view range skills because I like to run coated optics instead of binos, and that's the setup you want, fellas. Set it up like a heavy tank. The track traverse is crap, so you want clutch braking. Brothers in Arms are going to help you reload and your view range. Track mechanic combined with repairs. If you play this tank at the front, people are going to take your tracks off. With track mechanic and repairs, you don't need to burn a repair kit, or even if you have already burnt your repair kit, you're only going to be waiting a couple of seconds for your tracks to come back on. 6th Sense is just common sense, and snapshot, because of that aim time, 2.7 seconds, anything you can do to improve it. Snapshot with Brothers in Arms, it's going to lower it down just a little bit and help you out that way. Supplies? Yep, quite a few AP, 2.99 pen, you need plenty of those. The filthy heat rounds, they're 7,200 a shot, but I do carry a few. Like I said, if you are up against T110 E3s, things like that, and with this tank, you don't have the mobility to flank a tank like the T110 E3, so you just need to load up these heat rounds, hope you get a good pen roll, and bash them from the front, and that's what you do with a Jagdpanzer. It's just a big bully, and you bully tanks. Carry 2 high explosive for waffles and cat resets, and that's about it. Things like Lorraines. If you know you're going to be shooting a Lorraine, load up a high explosive round and you will do full damage on, unless you're unlucky and hit a gun mantlet or something like that. I carry standard consumables. I have tried coffee, sorry, not coffee, chocolate on this tank, but a shot to the lower plate will damage the engine, and if it can damage the engine, there's a chance of getting set on fire, and it has happened a couple of times. It doesn't happen very often, and if you're showing your lower plate, when I've been set on fire, it's more down to me being stupid and not hiding my lower plate, which is what you want to try and do, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Equipment then. Right, so you can set it up as a sneaky dude, caminet, binos and a rammer, or you can set it up like how I like to play it. I go for coated optics, rammer, and I mess around with either improved ventilation and gun lane drive. I think both have sort of equal amount of benefit to the tank. This one obviously is going to help with your aim time. Ventilation will help with your reload, your view range and your aim time, but to a lesser extent as the gun lane drive. You can run a super heavy spall liner on this, and it is a good idea. You get plus 50% because it's super heavy, and that will help you with hesh splashes, artillery rounds, as long as they don't pen. And because you're such a big target, artillery do like to pick on you, so just be careful. Right, there we go. We've had a good look around the tank, crew skills you want, supplies and equipment. Now off into tanks.gg to have a look around the armour. Right, so here we are, tankers, looking at the Jagdpanzer E100's gun constraints. Only has 6 degrees of gun depression through the whole, 16 degrees of gun traverse, very small. So just be very careful. You're going to spend a lot of time moving your tracks to be able to aim your shot in, which is why I don't recommend camo net on this tank, because it's absolutely pointless. Yeah, so just be careful about these gun traverses. Anyway, onto the 3D model. Jagdpanzer is known for its armour. It has the E100's hull, so it's a very, very well armoured hull. The lower plate start off then, it's 150mm. It does bring up big enough numbers to not worry about tier 9s, tier 8s, unless tier 9s are firing premium rounds at you. Tier 10s will go through this fairly regularly, unless you are angling the tank. But if you are angling the tank, remember you can't shoot back because it only has 8 degrees of gun traverse either side. Yeah. So yeah, you know what I mean. Best way to play this is to be able to hide this bit, get hull down, and try and use your 6 degrees of gun traverse to lean the tank back a bit. You've only got 6 degrees, mind. That accentuates the upper plate, makes the numbers even bigger, and adds a few millimeters to the upper superstructure. You can see there, that brings the numbers up into the 280s. You're still going to get penned by premium rounds, but that is going to stop you getting penned by the highest of pen standard rounds, i.e. E50Ms with 270 pen will no longer be able to go through there. But if you bring the gun back down, an E50M with a decent pen roll, they don't have to roll that high. It's only a few percent high. They can penetrate the upper superstructure with their standard rounds. All tier 10s firing premium rounds can penetrate this part of the upper superstructure. So this tank is not invincible, but this is a fairly small target, especially from range, and with the upper plate being so strong, the gun mantlet being insane, and even this portion out here being, you know, way over 300mm, you only have these two small areas there where premium rounds can pen, but you do have this gun port at the back, 160mm, but quite a small target. But accurate tier 10 mediums will be able to penetrate that fairly reliably from the front. So you do have a couple of balancing features on this tank: the lower plate, the upper superstructure, and the gun port. Right, so from the side, the superstructure is not particularly good, 150mm, so be careful about being flanked. The ammo racks are back here, and they get penned quite a lot when you expose this. You rarely get ammo rack damage from the front, but from the side it happens quite often. Right, being an E100 hull, you get these magic skirt armors which will make shots just disappear, just like the IS-7 spaced armor. Heat rounds will not do anything here or here because of the tracks count as 40mm are spaced on this tank. And I've spoken about this before on some of the other reviews I've done, saying about the spaces in track models. The E100's hull has no spaces, so if you're loading heat rounds, do not aim at anything like this. Aim here. A heat round will just disappear here. APCR rounds will go through, and the highest of pen AP rounds, but then if you can see this, you've got a half chance of being able to see this anyway, so absolutely no point trying to fire through here. Anyway, onto the back, it's not actually that bad. 150mm, so only tanks really like the mouse for beat that. Not very big numbers though, unless you extreme angle, and if people sneak up behind you and they don't aim their shot properly, or they just think the back of the tank is an easy pen, they're not going to pen the back of this tank at that angle. The numbers are huge. Yeah, it's a fairly troll butt armour. Yeah, so it's not bad at all actually. Right, there are some balancing features on the top. 65 there, 40 here. Artillery can abuse that. Be careful because they will. So, not bad at all really. It's fairly strong. Just the upper superstructure which people abuse if they know about it. Not a lot of people do. And the lower plate obviously. Tier 10s can go through there. Right, there we go fellas. Quick look around the armour. Now to go and have a look at some gameplay.
All we gotta do is capture the location marked on the map. Roll out.
Right, on to the replay then. I've sped this up ×4. Yeah, there we go. 48 drives in front of me, slows me down, and then pushes a faster TD. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, this thing is slow. You pay for all that armour with a lack of mobility. But I'm going to get myself into a position where all that armour is going to come in handy. Right, we're on highway encounter. Pretty good game mode for this tank because it makes all of the enemy tanks group up in one sort of area. Allows you to keep the enemies to your front. See, I'm driving across at an angle. I'm pretty safe here. Swing in to take a shot. Actually take a round there. What is it? IS4 at range. Boom. Lovely. Yeah, good accuracy for a 170mm. Can side scrape this tank pretty cool. But again, like I've said a couple of times already, when you actually want to fire at someone, you have to straighten your tank up. Good players will just wait for you to do that.
Enemies looking right at us.
Right, so I'm where I want to be. I'm locating myself as near to the edge of the map as I can, because if anybody... Oh, that was a bad miss. If anybody does want to flank, I can jam a backside up against the border of the map and stop him from being able to do the merry-go-round. Right, on the reload then.
Enemies got us in their sights.
With your crew skills and equipment, the reload's long, but it's not horrendously long. It's like 20 seconds.
Ready to fire.
IS4 again. That's the second hit into the IS4.
It destroyed one of our tanks.
When I'm reloading, I back off and then I start to push in when I know I'm going to get there just as I reload. Y7 aiming at me, hits lower plate, hits me and breaks my gun somehow. He had a lot of time to aim, so why he would aim there I don't know. Well, so that's my repair kit, but... Right, reload normally nearly done. It's time to push in, just scoping out a shot. That's 3, ammo rack. Oosh. Happy days. Right, so I've racked up some damage already with that ammo rack. There's still a tank behind. We have no artillery, ours is dead somehow. And they have theirs. It's 53, 55 as well, so I need to be a little bit careful. Aim up the hatch on the 215B, but I only break his optics. Right, so I load up some filthy heat rounds. 420mm of penetration when you just have to pen someone, even when they're hull down like this 215B. If we were winning on tanks, I wouldn't do this, but we're starting to get behind. Every shot counts.
Locked and loaded. They've spotted us.
Our Bulldog's gone in, took their attention away, so I'm trying to push in.
The enemy is capturing the base.
But you don't do anything fast in this tank.
Friendly vehicle destroyed.
There's the 215, he's pushing back. I'm going to have to go over the bump a little bit more. He's got his turret to the side. No, lower plate shot. Side armour. Bang.
Enemy armor is damaged.
Didn't really need that heat round there. I was expecting him to be hull down and I was going to aim at his turret. But he pulled back, gave me a shot. Right, so we're even further behind now. There's the 53, 55.
The enemy is capturing the base. They found us. Releasing target.
I say turret, yeah, no problem with heat. I realise using a lot of heat detracts from the value of the replay, but you can see from the numbers on the team, and I'm getting aimed at by artillery. Every single shot I take now is more important than the last because we are outnumbered.
The enemy knows our location. Ready to fire on
Jagdpanzer roof, nice.
Enemies are capturing the base. They've spotted us.
There we go, up a superstructure with a premium round, absolutely no dramas whatsoever. And we've evened up the numbers, right, happy days, there's only tier 9s left. They've got an M103, a light tank, and that 53, 55.
Been detected.
Pushing in this way because I saw where the rounds were coming. If I get down here, oh, bounced the light tank there. I'm going to ignore him. Yeah, the buildings there will give me a bit of protection from the artillery. Right, we'll spy the M103 and watch this absolute donkey shot in a second.
They found us.
Remember, 299 pen.
Unlocking target.
I'll go for his lower plate for some reason. Bounce.
Their armor.
Absolute joke. Should have just aimed at his turret, it would have gone straight through. And I think that's actually what I do now. Yeah, there we go. Aim for his turret roof. Boom. M103 down. Right, so I had a rough idea where the artillery was shooting at me from.
The enemy knows
Right, so we get spotted. There he is. He's backed up in a corner.
I see one.
Good idea from him. I'm low health. He could kill me here, but I'm not gonna fall for it. Just want the win.
They've spotted us.
Our other TD's pushing round. This guy's aiming at me. There we go. Boom. I really didn't care about that last kill. Just happy to take a win down. Well, there we go. First, quick look at results. I know I did fire a couple of filthy heat rounds, but when people request a video from me, I don't just jump in a tank, play one round and get a good replay. Several hours of Jagdpanzer gameplay to get this one. I was fed up of doing 4, 5, 6k damage and losing. So if you have to use a few premium rounds to guarantee yourself a win, especially when I've got people waiting on videos, that's what I do. Right, there we go. Picked up the ace tanker, 8,000 damage in the Jagdpanzer. You just see there from that replay. It's not very manoeuvrable. It's not very fast. You need to keep your enemies to the front. You don't have to hide at the back in a bush. It's got plenty of armour. With the correct ammunition choices, you can take down any tank in the game from the front. Well, there we go, guys. Hope you enjoyed this replay, and for whoever it was that requested it, I can't remember. Well, thank you for making me play a tank I don't particularly like. I don't play it very often, and that's why I have no barrel marks in it because I very rarely play it. It's not a fun tank to play. It is a very powerful tank, it's just not that much fun. I'm definitely drifting towards tier 10 mediums at the minute for just pure fun value. Anyway, there we go guys, give the video a like if you did, sub if you're not, and I'll catch you on the next one. See you later.